Hi there, my name is Ramon Valdivia. Today I'll be talking about a home my parents leased in Ramona, California on 2431 Robertson Street for many years. This home was a great place for the family. It had 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a very big kitchen, and a big living room, and a two-car garage. One of the great things about this home was the front yard and the backyard as well. The home sat on 2 acres of land. It was a great place, like I mentioned in the beginning. It was home sweet home to everybody. Then things went wrong during the raining seasons. The front of the laundry room and the garage would fill with water and flood because of how the land sloped in towards the house. The drainage wasn't working either. The only solution was to dig trenches, small water canals, so the water would go in a different direction, which worked very well. This stopped the flooding. Not only did this happen in the front of the house, where the garage and the laundry room were, but in the back of the house, in this area right here, where the bark is in the beginning and then back towards the field, it would flood as well. And it would become really muddy. No one could walk back there. If you drove a vehicle back there, you would get stuck as well. Luckily, in this part of the house was up higher than the concrete, a few feet, so the water wouldn't go in there. This area back here, where I mentioned a little bit ago, was where it would start to puddle. As you see, where you see the arrows pointing, that whole area would fill with water. I mean, I kid you not, probably at least a good 7 inches. And like I mentioned, no vehicles could go back there, or they would get stuck, and then they'd have to be pulled out by another vehicle. You can not walk back there, or you would be, covered in water up to your heels. This area back here was probably the worst area of the house. There was actually a studio back here where other people rented. You see the area right here where the grass is. It would usually rain right there, and then the water would start coming in where the arrows are pointing. It got to the point to where the toilet itself would back up, the bathtub would back up, because also the septic line was not made right. So when it rained, it would fill up with water, and all the water would back up into the studio. The water from the rain would come onto the concrete into the studio. So it was pretty brutal. And the only solution was, again, like in the front, make trenches, make little canals of so the water would go on to another direction. And other things would happen as well. Like there was a water well that would break down every now and then. Sometimes we'd be out of water for 5 days until the parts arrived. The landlord wasn't really good about maintaining his own home. We would have to do this. We would have to pay out of pocket. Sometimes we get reimbursement, sometimes we wouldn't. Also, there was a water heater, fast water heater that would heat water right away. That also broke. Sometimes we wouldn't have water for 3 days, 5 days. It was crazy. And there's one more thing that I want to talk about after this. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was this roof. It's nearly new. Before we left the place, we actually replaced that. The good thing was that the landlord did provide the material, but the bad part was he didn't want to pay much labor, so we took a loss there. And this was me explaining our home sweet home, the rights about it. It was a comfy home. It was a great home for the family. We did enjoy, most of the time when things wouldn't break down, we liked it. The wrongs, was the breaking down of things, the breaking down of the water heater, the breaking down of the well, just things like that. But I learned a lot from this. This was an experience, to not rent a home like this. Get out of homes like these. Do not rent them for more than a year if you find out there's going to be problems. Thank you very much.